Hello, Facebook. Hi, I'm live. Just checking everyone's here. I think it's taking some time, but yes, hi, we're live. Hi. Hello. It is Tuesday. It's my live day, and I love this time of the week because it's when I get to share some really cool stuff with you guys and hopefully help you solve a problem in your business that is going to help you smash through your goals and get more money and feel good about stuff. So today is all about sales, and I love sales. I've been in sales literally my entire career. Like I started off when I was 18, just a bit of backstory, like in my first sales job in publishing, and I've done various different things. I moved through like media and advertising to digital, so I'm kind of down with sales. However, so one thing that I didn't expect in this new business is because it's all about me, um, it feels very different. So I'm not selling on behalf of a company, I'm not selling on behalf of anybody else, I'm selling myself. And that brings up loads of different stuff. So that brings up loads of other kind of feelings and fears and doubts and beliefs that can hold you back. So I wanted to come here and bust some sales myths and also come here and give you a really easy framework of how to approach your sales so you can actually convert more but also get more leads, because it's not just about like what you do when you have somebody on the phone or when you have someone in your like DMs and you're talking to them. That's kind of the end bit. Like there's a whole process before that people don't really think of as being sales, but it really is. So let's get into it. Let's dig in. Now, a big myth I want to dispel around sales is I know a lot of people have this feeling that it's kind of sleazy, it's wrong, it's manipulative, and selling is kind of not a good thing. And I really want to kind of challenge that and get you to a place where you're reframing that conversation in your head, because if that's the way you're approaching sales, it it's no wonder you're not seeing the results that you want, because you're coming into it with this really kind of on the back foot energy, this energy of feeling like you're kind of supplicant, or you're trying to persuade somebody who doesn't want something. That's not a good place to come from in your energy of like how you want to be in the position of authority and leadership that you need to exude to get people to buy, because people don't mind being sold to. And don't think of sales as being trying to convince someone to do something they don't want to do. That's an impossible job. Like that's not sales. I'm not in the business of convincing people to do things they don't want to do. That's a kind of thankless task. Can you think back to the last time you bought something that you didn't want because somebody persuaded you to buy it? I bet you haven't, because unless you actually want the thing, it's very, very slim chance you're going to get it, because no one is that good a salesman that they can literally sell anything to anybody. You have to speak to people who want your products and services. So that's the first thing. Like you're never going to convince somebody to do something they don't want to do. So don't worry about that part. Don't worry if you think you're manipulating people, you're not. Your job as a salesperson, as someone who's providing value, if it's products or services, whatever you're selling, is to educate someone about what you do in a way that is making them more likely to invest in that thing. And they're actually investing in themselves. If you're a coach or a consultant or a freelancer, you're persuading them or having a discussion with them about why it's a great idea for them to invest in themselves. So I really want to dispel this myth that sales is gross, that it's yucky. Like if you believe in what you do, then you can sell with an absolutely clear conscience, because it's your job and it's your duty to put your products and services in front of the people who need it, because that's why you're in business, to help people who need your products and services. So I really want to move away from that. I think I've gone on enough. So the second thing about sales is it doesn't have to be this kind of transactional process. So think about your marketing and all the content you create in your marketing. You wouldn't then just like send somebody one email and then immediately jump in and pitch them. So think of selling as the final destination along their marketing journey with you. And the marketing journey is, again, just you educating them about what you do, who you help, how you help them, and the end result. So you're not like spamming people with messages they don't want. It's about asking for permission. It's about being a valuable asset in their life. And the sale is just the end destination of it. So you shouldn't feel different about sales as you do about any of your marketing. It's just the final destination. So those are kind of some things around sales that I really wanted to get kind of off my chest. I think when you're a solopreneur, if you're by yourself, if you're selling yourself as a brand, that's when people have this massive block because they think they have all these stories about I'm not good enough or I'm not expert enough. So I want to give you a framework that actually really helps with that. So firstly, come from the energy of selling is serving. If you believe in what you do, and I pretty much guarantee that you do, otherwise you wouldn't be doing it. Selling is serving. It's your duty to show people how they can better themselves or how they can transform themselves with your help. Secondly, don't feel funny about sales being like a totally different part of your business. It's just the final natural destination of your marketing. So if you've got those two things in your mind, they'll set you up for a good place. So I want to go through kind of 4 steps that I really recommend you kind of try and weave into your messaging, into any sales calls, into any content or kind of direct messages even with your prospects. So we all know we're using social media a lot. A lot of people are just messaging directly from content, and that's fantastic because it saves a lot of time, saves a lot of effort on your part, but also on your client's part. Like people don't have just limitless half-hour blocks of time to spend chatting to people they're not going to do business with. So I'm kind of a big fan of not jumping on calls for an hour and a half. Like, why would you need to do that? If you know that you can help that person and if that person knows that you can help them, just do it on your DMs. Like, if you need to be that confident in yourself and your products. But let's go through the 4 steps. So you're going to want to get a notepad, maybe take some notes. I use this. I feel it's really helpful. And they're general things that you can apply to all sorts of different areas of your content and all sorts of different areas of your sales process. So the first one is energy. So I'm going to talk about this a lot. I think the energy that you come into something is really important. The energy that you give, the energy that you're providing with somebody. Remember, you're the expert and you're there. It's your duty to help. So if you're coming from that energy, that really like genuine energy of helping them, remember, it's not your job to persuade somebody to do something they don't want to do. It is only your job to show somebody exactly how this will help them so that to help them make a better decision for themselves. So if you start to reframe it like that, it kind of takes the anxiety off, it takes the pressure off, it takes that feeling of fear off you as well, because if they say no, that's fine. That's absolutely fine because it might not be right for them. However, if you feel that you are right for them and they still say no, then you just got to tweak some of what you're saying and some of how you communicate the value. But the first thing I really want to get across is that energy. So this might sound really dumb, but something that I do before I have a sales call, before I want to kind of write a sales post or anything, is I get myself really active. So I will do jumping jacks. Sometimes I put on some music and have a little boogie. Like I might get down on the floor and just do a plank. I mean, it's a really good job that people can't see this because I must look really strange. But it's just about like elevating that energy, getting like that energy pumping so you feel you're coming from a really good place. I also want you to be aware of the energy that you might be giving off if you're solely focused on you and what it's going to give you. So money in the bank or paying your bills or making sure you hit your income goal for the month. Like that's not a good energy to come from. Like people can sense it, they just feel it. it's just a sense people get. B, you're not serving them the way that you should be serving them. So you need to be kind of detached from the process, but in a way that you know you're showing them how you can help them, but you're unattached to the outcome. So I want you to practice maybe on your next sales call, maybe on your next DM conversation, maybe in your even your next pitch, like if you're writing content for Instagram or Facebook. Just think about that. Just think, I'm unattached to the outcome. The people who are ready to work with me, this will speak to them. And the people who aren't ready to work with me aren't ready to work with me. And just be fine with that. Just be like totally cool with that happening. Because when you detach from the outcome and the result, it takes a lot of pressure off you, and it also takes a lot of pressure off your client. Because I've been on those calls where someone is so keen to close the call, close, that it's left me feeling stressed, kind of anxious, and also like almost backed into a corner. Because, and this is not something I teach, I don't teach those questions to get to the yes. Like, I believe that people are human beings with their own control and their own power, and you can't make somebody do something they don't want to do. So I'm not into that kind of, this is the script to make people say yes. It just leaves you feeling bad. I've had an experience where I was kind of backed into a corner, and the guy got me to say yes so many times to so many weird, like random things, and then almost yes, kind of without me knowing what I was saying yes to before I even knew how much it was. And I just hate that. So I would always advocate being detached from the outcome, but being very sure that you know you're telling them the things that they need to know. So people don't care about your process, they don't care about your system, they don't care about module 1, 3, 5, whatever. What they care about is the result you give them. So if you talk about that, that's really important. So just remember that. Don't come from this energy of being desperate or needing the sale to hit your goals. That's not gonna work. Like, it might work in the short term, but it will make you feel kind of crappy, and you won't get the kinds of clients that you really deserve and that really, really love working with you, because you come at it from a different energy. So the first one's energy. Second one I really want to say is do your prep and do your research. So you wouldn't jump on a call. Oh, hey, Teresa. Teresa just sent me a message. You wouldn't jump on a call without knowing stuff about people. So even if it's 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes, that's all it takes. Like, have a look on their Facebook, see what they've been up to. Just know who you're speaking to. You will have qualified them before. And if you haven't qualified them before, let me get this straight, because I really urge you to put some qualifying questions into the scheduler. If you use like an online scheduling tool like Calendly or Acuity, just put some questions in so you qualify them before they get on a call. Saves you time, saves them time. Ask them what their current income is. Ask them if they have the time and money to invest in your program. It's really important, because you don't want to be speaking directly on a phone call with people who aren't yet ready to take that jump. It's just kind of a waste of time. They could get plenty of value from you, from your content, from whatever else you're putting out there, without jumping on a call. So that would be my, like, ask some questions, make sure they answer those questions before they get on a call with you, and do some prep, because then you can reach out and just have a normal conversation. Like, there is no like massive secret to sales. It's not a big secret. There isn't some foolproof tested system. People may say there is, but I just don't think there is. There are things that you can do to help your chances to overcome those other objections that aren't real objections, but there's no like one thing that's going to solve everything. But just being normal, just being a normal person really helps. People don't mind being sold to in the right way. So I'm all about doing it in a way that feels comfortable for you, that you don't feel funny about, and that sits well with you, because you're coming from a place of integrity. So just do a bit of research, and then you can start to build rapport. So that's the third thing. So we've got energy, we've got research, and then rapport. So building up that rapport, whether it's in your your direct messaging, whether it's even through your content, or whether it's on a sales call, just ask some regular questions. And again, I'm not going to say like you always have to ask them questions to get them to say yes as many times as possible on a call. I've seen trainings where people are like, get them to say yes loads and loads of times. So at the end, they'll just say yes. Like, people aren't stupid. They're not just going to say randomly yes to something just because they've said yes a couple of other times. So ask genuine questions. What have they been doing? What are they up to? Like, do they have family? What do they like doing? How's stuff going? Whatever, like just genuine questions. And I really like to remember when you're like doing these rapport questions, just like who, what, when, where, how, because they're open questions. So they're not yes, no questions. If you start with, are you struggling in your business? They might say no. And you're like, oh, okay, whoops. So like who, what, where, when, how, or tell me questions. Tell me about what's going on. Like, tell me more about that. It's all about building a rapport, and it's like an emotional connection. So people do not mind jumping on a call if they know that like it's transparent, that at the end of this call, if I think we're a good fit, I might tell you more about the program I'm working on. Is that okay? That's fine. Like, people don't like to be surprised. Oh, sorry. Boys, I'm doing a live. Can you shut the door? Shut the door, please. Shut the door. Shut the front door. The dog. I'm really sorry. It's like literally my life. Can you go? I'm doing a live video. Oh my God. I'm really sorry. Okay, so where were we? Yeah, just the emotional connection of like building that rapport and making sure they know that you care about what's going on in their life and what's going on in their business. It makes a massive difference when people think and know that you're caring about them, and you are, because if you want them to be like a perfect client, if you want them to be a dream client, if you want to help them to the best of your ability, you're going to need to know some stuff about them, like what their day looks like, how is their business, what are they looking for as their goals. Like, you're going to need to know some more information. So firstly, it's really helpful to build the connection, but secondly, you're getting some really good information about how you can help them. I've seen this mistake so many times where people just jump in, like they'll ask some questions, they'll build some rapport, and they'll be like, right, let me tell you about my program. It's not how it works. So you need to ask them questions about what they're going through in their business and why you got on the call in the first place. Like, I'm hoping, if it's a call, but I'm hoping that if this is a call, you have had that like qualifying before, so you know what they're going through, you know what they're doing, you've had a couple of messages back and forth, so you kind of know the situation, and they know why they're on the call too. So ask questions. I want you to ask them about how things are, where they're struggling, not are you struggling, where are you struggling right now, how have you found that, tell me more about how you found that. These are all really good questions, because they are then open up to you and say what's going on, like honestly in their business, what is happening. And this is, again, people are really tempted to like jump in and be like, I can help with that. Just hold your horses, chill those boots, because you're kind of building up this really safe space for someone to talk about what's going badly. And like, we don't like talking about what's going badly, but sometimes it's just a relief to talk to somebody about like, this isn't going right and I feel like I'm doing this wrong, and actually get into the kind of nitty gritty of like where things have not been going great. Because when you start to dig in a bit more and like ask them how that makes them feel, that's where they kind of realize like, oh, this really is a problem. This really is something that I need to change. So we've done that bit. We've done the rapport. We've done the kind of asking the questions about them and their business and finding out what's really going on. Not just like, I want more sales, but like, tell me about that. How is your process? What does that look like? Then I want you to say, so what is the goal you're working towards? Get them to answer that. Like, what are they working towards? And then we move from the kind of the tricky bit to And what does that mean for you? So what does creating that kind of income look like? How does that feel for you? What does that mean for you? Does that mean you can spend more time with your family, children? Like, don't ask them that, but just be really open so they can paint that picture about what it's going to look like and feel like and be like when they have the money or the health or the spiritual connection or whatever it is that you are doing and selling. Let them paint the picture. You don't have to speak at all. Like, I think 80% of the sales call really should be them speaking. So if you find you're speaking more than your prospects on sales calls, then you need to realize that and just shift the energy and ask more questions. So you need them to paint this picture of the vision of what it's going to look like when they have success, when they have transformed, what it is for them to be transformed, and really dig into the emotions of it, because they always say there's like 7 steps of why. So like, why is that so good for your family? And why is that? Like, you can keep going deeper. And it's a really good exercise actually for anyone in business to kind of examine your own purpose. Like, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why is it important for me to have this? Why does freedom mean so much to me? So you can really get into, like, it's not a surface level conversation. It's quite a deep conversation. So what I want to do now is just take a pause and just reiterate what we've been through, because there's a lot to unpack here. Can't obviously share everything that I know about sales in a live, but I might do another one in this series if this has been helpful. So the first step is energy. Coming to it with a really positive energy, and the positive energy to serve. So selling is serving, just having that feeling of like, I'm detached from the outcome. I'm here to help them make a decision. So secondly, researching, so finding out facts about them. Make sure your qualifying has been done thoroughly so they are ready and they are the right person for you to speak to, because your time is so precious. Please don't waste it on people who aren't ready. That's not going to happen. The third thing is asking those questions, so building rapport. So the who, what, where, when, how questions, and tell me more questions. And then the fourth thing is getting into that pain point. So really kind of getting to that emotional connection around the pain and what that feels like, what that looks like, and how it's impacting them. And then moving from that kind of pain to their goal and the transformation and the vision of what could happen. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. The next bit is the selling bit. So if you're doing this the right way, they should have done literally like 100% of the talking so far. You just have been asking questions. So now we move into the bit where it's actually like positioning you as the authority and as the leader. So you are on the sales call with them for a reason, because you have something to share with them. So what I want you to do at this stage, and if they're feeling like, actually, yes, I really do want this vision of success, whatever that means for them, it's your time to be like, okay, I'm the expert in this, and here is what I think. So don't be tempted to coach people on these calls. I see people who actually just go in straight into like coaching. They're like, right, what we need to do is X, Y, Z. And they start to like strategize. But here's the thing, and this is what will really scupper it, is people will take that and then be like, cool, I'm done, I'm set, I don't need anything else, and then just go try and apply it themselves without your expert help and guidance. And that is doing them a disservice, because obviously that you can't coach someone in a 30-minute call and then like suddenly fix all their problems in their business, but they will think it's enough of a solution for them to go ahead and go do it. And that is doing them a huge disservice. It's doing you a disservice as well, because you aren't able now to help that person in the way they need to be helped, which sucks. So don't be tempted to coach people on a call. You need to have this conversation to find out if what you provide is going to help them. That's the reason for this call. So what I want you to do now is position yourself as the expert and the authority. And there's a couple of ways of doing this. I would always bring up your experience, and say, for example, you're a love coach, just say, well, in my 15 years of 5 years, whatever, of being a relationship and love coach, what I've seen is the people who are most committed to the process get the best results. And I can see that like your commitment to that vision is really strong. Does that sound about right? Something like that. Or from the couples that I've seen success, like some really important ingredients are having that like clear vision together. Is that something that you want to work on? Like just like a natural segue. And again, keep it open, keep it free, keep it like a conversation. Because then you can start to bring in some like client testimonials or just an example of someone you've worked with, which then they realize that this is what you do. So the reason that they're here is because you can help them get to that vision. And this is the point where I kind of, you need them to be in when they're ready and they're really excited about what can be possible for them. What I want you to try and avoid is having conversations with people who are resigned. People who are resigned to the results they have are not willing to invest in themselves to change. So just be aware of that feeling that you get from someone. If they feel like it's not possible for them, they may sign up with you or they may buy from you, but they don't think it's possible for them. So they're probably not going to be a really dreamy client to work with because they kind of won't put in the work, or they just kind of half-hearted. So you want people who are ready and who are super excited by that vision, because they're probably going to be committed to doing the hard work and committed to investing in themselves. So that's a kind of just a tip to kind of look out for. But then comes the natural part of like you saying, so sounds like I can help you get to this. Would it be okay if I told you a bit more about how that might work if we work together? So it's just a really easy, normal, natural way of like transitioning the conversation into this is how I can help. So again, a mistake I see a lot of people doing is suddenly like diving into all the information, like module 1 is this, module 2 is this is in module 5, and then blah blah blah. Like again, people don't care about the process. People don't like, they're not interested. They're not interested in you, they're interested in themselves. So what I would really encourage you to do is be like, it looks a bit like this. What we would do is we'd have, I don't know, however your program works or however your product works or whatever it is you're selling, this is what happens next. This is the first step. Like give them a first step and give them, maybe pull out one of those things they're struggling with, and I would really recommend like module 3 is really going to help you, because that's where we really go into money mindset, or that's where we really go into committed sharing goals together, or whatever it is that you do. Like pull out a couple of things and just tell them the next step, the next thing that would happen along the road. So I also believe that you should be totally transparent about pricing. So I would almost put the price on like the qualifying call questionnaire. I would put the price on your website. People feel differently about this. That's totally fine. I myself just feel like it's more transparent. It's more above board. People don't feel like they're going to be shocked and have a shocker of a like, ugh moment, which is horrible. Like no one wants to be like given that moment. I would rather go into something with my eyes open, knowing if I can make the investment or not. I don't want to be on a call with someone and be like so excited to work with them and then be like, oh, I can't. So it's totally up to you, but I find just see how it feels. Try both ways. But I do find that like just knowing the price is almost easier, because there's no kind of reaction. You don't have to be like waiting for them to be like, ooh, it's just easier. And then just say, I really think that I can help you with this. Like this sounds like you're my dream client and this is how I've helped other people do exactly this. How does this sound to you right now? Like just be really open. You don't have to close people. I don't think people can be closed. I'm not about super kind of aggressive sales tactics. Just know when to step back and know when to kind of lean forward. That's all I'm saying. People will have genuine objections. People will have genuine problems with cost. They may have to speak to their husband, at which point you say, okay, cool, go speak to your husband. Like, who would ever recommend that you be like, why do you need to speak to your husband? Does that mean that he controls everything you do? No. Like, if it's a big investment, people need to speak to their families, their partners, whatever. Like, that's none of your business. Just, I would love to know that you've gone into your next sales call knowing that you've said everything you can about how you can help them, and being super clear about how you can help them, because that's the most important thing. And someone, like, you're not going to close 100% of your calls, of course. You're never going to convert 100% of the people. No, can you shut the door, please? 100% of the people that you're messaging with, but you give yourself a much higher chance of speaking to the right people and getting the right clients on board if you have that qualifying process, and if you go through these steps, because there will be natural objections to timing, money, whatever. But if the person believes that they can achieve the results that they want with you, then you've made a sale. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. I think we massively overcomplicate it. So just like have confidence in yourself, have confidence in the thing that you are selling and the results that you get, because that just comes across. And I know we've all been on the other end of phone calls that feel spammy and like aggressive, and like they're trying to close you down all the time by getting you to say yes, and like by getting you to agree to stuff. And I totally don't think that's a good route. I think in like some corporate businesses and selling software or whatever it is, it's a totally different conversation. But for what I do and for what my clients do and for what you guys do, it's more about relationship, and relationships that take time to nurture. You're not just going to jump in with a sales pitch when someone first joins your community or first comes into your like sphere, as it were. So just be like a normal human being. You don't have to be like a sales person, but you need to make sales to have a business, because you don't have a business if you don't have sales. So that's what I want to leave you with. Those are my top tips: energy, research, asking questions, positioning yourself with authority, and then kind of allowing the conversation to develop. What does it look like to work together? Is it okay if I tell you what it looks like if we work together? Because you're asking permission, and people like to be asked permission. People don't like to have loads of facts and figures rammed down their throat the minute they jump on a phone call. So yeah, that's what I've got. I also think, just as an aside from those 5, that kind of framework, is schedule in time for money making activities throughout your week, throughout your day. Like, treat that as number 1. I followed this guy on ClickFunnels, who's like one of the trainer guys, called Steve Larson, who is really funny and really good and is an amazing salesperson. And he's got this system for prioritizing what you do with your time, and it's called green dot, red dot. So green dot is money making activities, and red dot is not money making activities. So if a task has a big green dot, which means it can make you a lot of money, might take a lot of time, but it's going to make you a lot of money, you do that. If it's a big red dot, so it's going to take you loads of time and it doesn't make any money, literally just do not do it. Hire a VA, outsource, do something else, delegate it, or just don't do it. So big green dot, money making activities. Cool. Thank you so much. Oh, so nice to have you here. Thank you so much for joining the live. It's been fun. I love doing this. I'm probably going to do another live a week, because I really enjoy this, and I really enjoy the goodness and the value. So join me next week. I might pop up for a little mini one on Thursday morning. I haven't decided yet. So drop me a message if you want to have any more on sales, or if there's any bit of sales that you are struggling with. Just drop me a message and I can include it into my training. Have wonderful evenings, and I will see you soon.